what we mean when we say success. I think it's fair to say that we live in a society that is extremely preoccupied with the concept of success. We strive for success. We dream of success. We read books that promise surefire formulas for success. We praise, admire, and sometimes even fawn over the success of others. Sometimes we secretly or not so secretly envy and begrudge it as well. We seem to believe that success necessarily implies happiness and fulfillment, and that lack of success can breed only frustration and gloom. But here's a question. For all our preoccupation with success, how clear are we as to what we mean by the word? In my own view, success should be defined with reference to the substance of person's achievement. What is someone actually accomplishing? Is she helping others? Is he living up to his own unique potential? Is there passion and originality in her approach to life and work? Is there fundamental value in what he's trying to achieve? Sadly, however, my impression is that substance has little to do with our concept of success these days. Rather than focusing on the essence of an enterprise or a career, we focus only on the reward it brings, generally as measured in dollars. To put it another way, we seem to focus on the payoff rather than the process, and this misplacement of emphasis devalues the whole notion of what success really means. Yes, it is commonly used. Commonly used. In fact, the word successful has become little more than a coded synonym for well paid. Think about it. In many social situations, it would be considered crass to speak of someone as a surgeon who makes a lot of money, or an executive who's paid a ton of duff. Generally speaking, though, when people refer to someone as successful, isn't that what they're really saying? Now, far be it from me to say that there's anything wrong with making money. That's not my point. Not my point here at all. What I'm saying, however, is that money should be seen as a spin-off of success, a side effect, and not the measure of success itself. True success comes from within. It is a function of who we are and what we do. It emerges from the mysterious chemistry of our abilities and passion and hard work and commitment. True success is something we earn privately and whose value we determine for ourselves. The outside world can reward us with money, but it cannot anoint us with this deeper and more personal kind of success. On the other hand, neither can the outside world take away the success we've earned in our inmost hearts, and this has enormous implications of a very practical kind. Anyone who's had his eyes open in the recent years will have noticed that our economic system can be fickle, to say the least. A career that is rewarded 1 month is punished the next. An investment banker is showered with bonuses 1 year, and then suddenly unemployed. An executive is seen as being on a fast track until her firm goes belly up. What happens to the success those people enjoyed when things were going better. That's the success vanish as soon as the money spigot is turned off. If it can be undone so abruptly, how solid could it have been in the first place? Is it possible that maybe it was illusory all along? If we were only taking about money here, these questions would not be so important. But in fact, we're talking about the much more intimate and crucial things that are tied in with our definitions of success. Things like self-respect and confidence and peace of mind. If someone's self-respect is proportional to the size of her paycheck, what does she think of herself if the paycheck shrinks or disappears? If the someone's confidence is based on the next raise or the next promotion, how does he feel when his progress is stymied? And why should any of us entrust the outside world fickle and uncontrollable as it is to tell us not just what our income will be, but what we are actually worth. The bottom line, I believe, is that the blind acceptance of a money-based definition of success is just way too risky a proposition, even leaving aside the intellectual and spiritual imperatives to find a more robust and personal definition of success and meaning. Prudence should steer us away from measuring our worth by what others will pay us. It is both lazy and dangerous to leave it to our bank statement to tell us how we're doing in our lives. But okay, if the passive acceptance of a money based definition of success can lead to all sorts of dangers and blind alleys, how should we define success? I don't believe that there's a one size fits all answers to this question, and that's exactly the point. A meaningful and resonant definition of success has to be personal. I can't define, still less dictate what should constitute success for you. You can't define what should constitute success for me. Each of us must labor toward our own version of fulfillment. Moreover, the work we do in the name of defining our success, work that brings us closer to self knowledge and understanding of what we truly value becomes part of our success. Let me try to make this clearer by way of an example. I have a friend who is a wonderful person and a wonderful musician. He cares incredibly little about money or possessions, which is a good thing, as his music earns him only a modest and sporadic livelihood. He has positioned himself so far outside the economic mainstream that at certain junctures he has to spend time living in his car. Most people would regard this as an unenviable state of affairs, to say the least, and it's fair to say that this fellow has faced his share of challenge and frustrations. Still he regards himself as a success in life, and I happen to totally agree with his assessment. He's living the life that is right for him, and the life he has chosen for himself. Finding that life, creating that life was not easy. To do so, he had to confront his own ambivalence and insecurities. He had to come to terms with the expectations of others, and he had to accept the costs, both practical and emotional, of declining to meet those expectations. His mother was a piano teacher, and he himself had shown great musical promise even as a child. His father was a loving but practical minded man who wanted his son to grow up to become a doctor. The father worked hard and made sacrifices in the name of his child's education and future, honoring his parents' commitment and their wish. The young man decided that he would become a pre-med student, relegating his music to a side passion. I college, he recalls. I recognized the love and respect between my dad and me. He saw all of these possibilities for me. He wanted me to be successful and happy. So when I was studying pre-med, I didn't think that I'm doing this for you. I really believed that the pre-med path was my own intent. I thought myself I would pursue that path, and whatever came from that choice, that's what I would do. My junior year of college, however, it was becoming clear that there was a problem. My friend's interest in medicine was waning. Music was calling to him more insistently. When he broached the subject with his father, the conversation led to pain and confusion on both sides. It's not like he was threatening to disown me. My friend recalls, but still, it was clear that if I gave up medicine, our relationship would be changed and damaged. I couldn't expect the same kind of financial or emotional support. I'd really be on my own. The choice was mine to make. And so began a long and convoluted struggle, a struggle that I believe is fairly typical of what happens when young people choose paths outside their parents' expectations. For a while longer, my friend tried his damnedest to fulfill his father's wish, keeping up the curriculum and graduating with a degree in biochemistry. He wanted after all to be a good son, and it's also true that chasing his father's dream saved him from the anxiety of pursuing his own. Did he really know how to make himself alive in music? Was he ready to be a professional performer? Was he good enough? Would he ever be good enough? Following his father's wish spared him from having to answer these extremely daunting questions. In some ways, it's easier to settle for someone else's version of success than to risk falling short at one's own. Still life has many ways of asserting itself, and they aren't always very direct. At some point my friend probably unconsciously found himself erecting roadblocks against his chances of becoming a doctor. He applied only to the most difficult programs at the most selective med schools. He worked hard at his studied and his applications, and at the very same time he resisted the direction in which those efforts were taking him. A soft but steady inner voice. What Socrates called his daemon and what my friend refers to as his design was telling him ever more insistently that he should be going somewhere else. Inevitably, my friend quite the doctor path and made music the center of his life. His mother was supportive of this. With the father, unfortunately, there was a rift, not an angry break, but a distance that carried with it a note of mutual guilt and disappointment. I had to accept that and acknowledge it, says my friend, and then I had to let it go. Over time, I tried to see what was positive in it. My father's aspirations for me, what were they based on in the first place? They were based on love and on a faith in my ability, his belief that I had something to give to the world. So okay, I haven't taken the path he would have chosen for me, but still I can just justify his faith in my faith in me by what I accomplish on my own path. This story has lovely kicker. This story has a lovely kicker. Not long ago, 30 years after his difficult choice to abandon medicine, my friend was giving a musical performance. Afterwards, he was approached by an audience member practicing physician who taught him how uplifted he'd been by the concert. The doctor called my friend a healer. At last, says my friend, someone had with simple words pulled together what my father wanted for me and what I'd chosen for myself. What a liberation! Liberation. I'd like to add a brief and very personal coda to this story because I have had my own experience with the liberating power of a few simple words. Sometime in my 20s, by which time I'd answered the call of music, but was making only a modest living at it. I was visiting family in Omaha. I'd had some conversations with my father in the course of which I had tried to explain my ambitions, my goals, and my plans for reaching them. In truth, I was using these conversations in part to explain things to myself. I was asking my father to be a sort of correcting mirror that could gather somewhat scattered shards of the thought and reflect back clarity. As was his custom, my father listened carefully, without judging, without offering explicit advice. Then one day, almost in passing, as he was headed out the door, he said to me, "You know, Pete, you and I rarely do the same thing. Music is your canvas. Berkshire's my canvas, and I get to paint a little every day." That was all he said, and it was plenty. It was a validation that I needed then and cherish even now. My father, as successful as he was comparing what he did to what I did, and not only comparing them, but in some sense equating them, not of course in terms of economic potential or impact in the wider world, but in terms of fundamental personal legitimacy. We didn't have to define success in the same way. We didn't have to adopt the same criteria for keeping score. What mattered was our shared process, not the rewards we netted. What mattered was that we were both following our respective passions. What connected us was that we were both trying our best at least we'd chosen for ourselves. My father's acknowledgement of this was tremendous gift to me. The preceding stories suggest I think a basic paradox about our definitions of success. And the truest and most durable measures of success are the ones we choose and define for ourselves. But those choices and definitions don't happen in a vacuum. Even our most personal choices and values are shaped in part by influences outside our skin. Our skin.